everybody, we are live, I believe. Wave at me in the chat if you are live. I am joined today by Mr. ADR Wargaming, otherwise known
Hello.
as Adam.
Hello, everyone.
You won't be able to see him just yet because I haven't put him on. I haven't put him on the screen yet. But today we are going to be. I'm going to be answering all Leagues of Votann questions. We've had quite a few that have come up from my review video. We're doing an afternoon stream, which we haven't done in a long time. We did one. We used to do them occasionally on Instagram, and we haven't done them. We haven't done one on YouTube before, so I'm just testing things out, trying to beat the algorithm, trying to grow the channel, you know. So yeah, we're going to be discussing all things Leagues of Votann. I will be discussing them with Adam, who you can't see, but you will very shortly. And we're also going to be doing some hobby as well on the Leagues of Votann. So I've got a pioneer here, but the choice will be up to you as to what we do, which we'll talk about as the stream goes on. So I'm just gonna head on to that camera now, so you guys can see Adam. There he is.
Hey.
We have Shasso K saying Among Us. That's sus. Russ is here. He says hello, matey. Hello, Russ. How are you? A to the 40k homeboy says afternoon dudes. Roman Baumgartner, I got that right the first time, I hope, says I love this army. I love this army too. I think they're fantastic. And Chewy is here.
Baumgartner is a great name as well. I would say Roman Baumgartner is a great name.
DD Lion X says, ooh, a Q&A. I have a Q if you want to give an A. Does it look like all the bodies in the box set would fit an Ironkin head? I want an Ironkin army. Yeah, no, they would. They would all fit the Ironkin head. You would have to procure a lot of Ironkin heads.
Yeah.
You only get 1 per 10, I think. I built one of the Ironkin. Because I thought it would be fun. But yes, you get enough helmets. I think that was a question that came up quite a lot, so we're going to answer that one really quickly. You get enough helmets so that everybody can have a helmet in the box.
Nice. I think I'm going to do all helmeted. I don't know.
Helmeted.
Yeah, I feel like, the void armor. I mean, I put helmets on most of my stuff anyway, so.
Bastian Kretz says, hello everyone, you're lucky to have that box. The French version disappeared instantly from the Games Workshop site. Oh, Bastian, that's a shame. Although, sir, if you do head to if you've got a local Games Workshop or a local hobby store, if you head to them at 10 o'clock in the morning on next Saturday, you should be able to pick one up.
Yeah, they'll probably have some, right?
It's the thing everybody always forgets, but they do have them in store as well. It's not just online. There is always a second chance to get them. LOVs represent. Wait a second. That's one letter off love. Are the dwarves hiding something? Says Lord Biscuit the Tossable. They are the Leagues of Love. They are the love dwarves. I love you.
Well, they are pretty noble, right? I mean, this is the interesting thing if we're going to get into a discussion of Leagues of Votann. I know, like, I watched the review video from our friends, Tabletop Tactics. Head over there to see some battle reports featuring Josh here. But they were talking about how I think Chef maybe didn't like it that the Leagues of Votann were sort of not bad guys. Like, they were genuinely, like, quite noble. Or like, not noble, right, but, like, they're kind of neutral, right? They're space dwarves. They have their territory. They just want to mine stuff, right? They just want resources, and they want to mine stuff. They don't have an agenda to go out and murder anyone. They don't really like orcs, obviously, because, who does these days? And they don't particularly love the Tyranids, who want to turn them all into biomass and soup, as they do with everybody. But, like, they don't have beef with anyone, like, particularly. So it was quite interesting that they were saying they're portraying them as quite refreshing to the setting, and I think maybe it's upset some Tau players because I think Tau, obviously in their original iteration were quite kind of noble bright, and they've obviously got more sinister over time. So who knows? Maybe the Leagues of Votann will go the same way, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, I've heard that as criticism, and actually it's weird because you and I were talking yesterday.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't you and I. I've told a lie. I was talking to someone else about it, what I think is missing from 40k is any hope whatsoever. Because in eighth edition, at the beginning of eighth edition, they were starting to show us that there was hope for humanity in the galaxy. You know, we had the beginning of the Indomitus Crusade. A Primarch had returned. It was in the face of true cataclysm. Everything was going wrong, but there was hope again. You know, they were going to be proactive and stuff was going to get done. And as it has continued in ninth edition, the story hasn't moved anywhere. So there hasn't been that continuation of that theme. And Grimdark only works if you have a spark of Noble Bright.
Yeah, I think that's true.
You know, all of our favorite stories that we can think of in terms of films and TV and stuff like that. No matter how dark it gets, you still have that kind of that central protagonist who may go through dark patches but has to rise above and overcome and battle against the darkness. And we haven't had that for a long time. And I really like the idea of them positioning the Leagues of Votann as a spark of Noble Bright in this dark universe.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'd like Dylan in the chat, or Double D Lion perhaps, has made the point, you know, that they do chew up populated planets with their harvesting ships. I haven't read through the lore properly because I obviously don't yet have the Codex. But my understanding is that they do have ships that like chew up planets and they'll sort of move people out of the way. But I don't think. I mean, you've looked at the book. I don't think they've necessarily done that. Although that could be somewhere they could go. I mean, I know there's lore in there about one of the ancestor cores, the one that got all its population eaten by the Tyranids, like has basically gone nuts.
Yes.
Obviously, that's like super powerful AI that's like gone mad, and the other Votann won't go near it. So that's like a whole interesting subplot that they could explore, you know, going forward. Because I mean, the thing is as well, what I will say, just to preface all of this stuff, is I know they're not new, right? Because we had squats before, but these aren't squats. These are like a new faction which is taking inspiration from the squats and is linked to them, right? So there's so much room for them to develop. Yeah. Right? They could go anywhere with them.
Yeah, I think to the Double D Lion X's point, they may do stuff like subjugate or destroy populated planets in order to harvest materials and stuff like that. They may do that, and no faction in 40k is beyond doing some what to us is morally reprehensible, but in 40k it's Tuesday. I think it's because their society, the Leagues of Votann, their society they generally strive for peace, harmony, and they're friends with nearly everyone, and it's not a grim, dark society. They are not a grim, dark in their nature. The Votann on occasion might ask them to do some dark stuff, but they, as a group, aren't. It's not the Imperium where, you know, even life as an ordinary citizen is absolutely miserable.
Yeah, it's a bit rubbish. Let's be honest.
Like, it's not like that. It's not like Eldari, who, you know,
we're all dying. We've left the murder god.
Life for them is mostly miserable. It's not like the Tau, who, you know, their life for them, they think it's all right, but it's sinisterly miserable. It's not like the Orcs, which
the leader is good, the leader is great. We surrender our will as of this date.
Yeah, excellent reference.
Would you like to see my collection of ethereal beans?
Yeah. So yeah, I think as a society they're quite noble in their pursuits, and you know, like I said, their void ships aren't fueled by chucking her Hearthkin onto a fire in order to fuel the forge.
Reload the plasma reactor.
Yeah, it's not that kind of thing, you know. Like, I mean, you've got some real juxtapositions, haven't you, in terms of like Chaos and Leagues of Votann, but like, you know, that's not a comparison you can really make. But you know, Chaos do fuel all of their hell wrought weapons by throwing people on a fire, and the
I
Leagues of
mean,
Votann don't do that. So
the adverts in the future are a bit different because for the Imperium, it's like if you can fix a Valkyrie, you can fix it. Or sorry, if you can fix a Lehman Russ, you can fix a Valkyrie. If you can fix a Valkyrie, you can burn to death in the plasma reactor of a lunar class carrier. My name's Dave. I'm from the planet Zargon 4, and I was killed in the Imperial Navy.
got some lovely comments here. DD Lion X says you are referring to the Mad Votan, aka Hashut. I hope he is called Hashut.
That would be cool if he was called Hashut.
I don't think it has a name. Here's the ultimate question: are they all Scottish? Well, the traditional trope would be that they are.
See, I like Welsh dwarves. I'm going to stand up for the Welsh here, right? I liked John Rhys Davies in Lord of the Rings as Gimli, put in sterling work, right? As Gimli, the Welsh dwarf. And we got to the Hobbit, they're all Scottish. We got to the Rings of Power, they're all Scottish. It's fine, I like it, but where's my Welsh dwarf representation? That's a country that has a history of mining and mountains and dramatic landscapes. Oh, I don't know. I'm feeling sorry for the Welsh on this one.
Well, I mean, they would have any kind of Saxon descended, well, Norse descended accents.
Norse descended, yeah.
Because these more so than the Space Wars, in fact, have quite a lot of Norse references.
Yeah.
But actually, a lot of it they do have references to the giants. So you have the Ymir conglomerate. Ymir was, of course, he was the first giant.
Yeah, he's like the frost giant, isn't he? The big one.
Yeah, the one that Odin killed, and his blood watered the realm, and thus Midgard was born. I think it was Ymir. Anyway,
yeah,
you have Ymir. You have Surtur, who was the fire giant.
The Irani Surtur regulates.
Yeah. So they very much if
they meet the Space Wolves, that's going to be awkward.
I think the Space Wolves kind of are the what are they called? What were the gods called? What was the race?
The Aesir.
Yeah. So if the Space Wolves are the Aesir, then these are the giants. So Jotun, the Jotunheim.
The Jotun, yeah. I'd love to see a meeting between the Space Wolves and the Leagues of Votann. We are the only ones allowed to cosplay as Norse in this universe.
Yeah.
You have to get rid of all the runic symbols. You tiny man.
Otaku Genetics says, "Hey Warhipster, do you have any Harlequins painting videos?" I have one. It's Kai Ganil. If you look up how to paint Kai Ganil, you should be able to see him. He was the character that comes with Ephrail Stern.
Yeah, he's Ephrail Stern's buddy.
But I don't have any mask painting videos. I will get to them eventually. I'm a very busy boy.
He's not. He sits around doing nothing all day, guys.
So not true. Yesterday I had to make 5 videos.
I know.
For all of them to
I know
come out
how
this
untrue
week.
it is.
The Loith says, "Hey Warhipster, thanks for your painting guides. You're very welcome, my friend. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you find them useful." Russ Matthew says they are not sheep humpers.
Ooh, harsh.
I mean, I grew up in Gloucester, right? So I have more reason than most to hate the Welsh, just by virtue of being where I was born. But I don't. But when we were kids, that was the thing that got thrown around all of the time. Sharts McGinty, fantastic name, says the actor is Welsh, but wasn't he affecting a Scottish accent, referring to John Rhys Davies?
I don't think so. I thought he kept his sort of strong Welsh accent.
There's little hints of a Scottish twang in there. Occasionally.
I suppose when some of his lines he does deliver with a sort of Scottish lilt to them.
But at times it's almost like he's a Welshman doing an impression of an Englishman who is doing a Welsh accent, which can occasionally veer into Scottish. It's very, very layered, is what I'm saying.
You're saying dwarves are like onions?
Yeah, they are. one of them was Norn-Irish in The Hobbit, just all Gaelic.
Yes, yeah, that's true. One of them was Northern Irish in the Hobbit.
If I remember correctly, he was Sharts. Oh, yes. That's what I was talking about. You were talking to Sharts McGinty. What accent did the Not April Fool's Leagues of Votann trailer have? I think they had a Scottish accent in that.
Yeah, I think they did, to be fair.
I would love to see a Votann that had spent time with the Harlequins called Loki, just causing crazy psychic mayhem. I mean, who knows? You might see it happen. For the Harlequin video, Warhipster breaks out the striped contrast paint. Pretty crazy to watch. I mean, it will be when I do it. I do it in Giganil video, but I've done all my painting off your videos, so thank you. I would be lost without them. Oh, that's very kind of you, Otaku. The leagues use clone schemes these days, right? That takes all the fun out of it. Yes, they do. The Dwarves are in fact clones. They come out of clone vats.
Yeah.
These are descended from the original humans. I'm going to pop the Codex here on camera.
Yeah. They are OG humans, aren't they? From the Dark Age technology.
Yes. If you're enjoying the stream, by the way, guys, do drop a like on the like button, because then it lets YouTube know that we're having fun, and then more people might come in and we can have even more fun. It's like a rolling stone gathering moss. A rolling stone of moss, of fun and all that kind of stuff. There we go. People smashing the like button. Thank you very much, guys. It's also a free way to support the channel, because the more people who watch, the more money I make, and therefore the more likely I am to have time to hire somebody to do the stuff I don't have time for, so that I can paint things like Harlequin videos. It's all cumulative, guys. It's how it works. But yeah, so as I said, this is a Q&A. So if you have any questions about Leagues of Votann, we can look in the book and answer them. If you have any questions about building them, I can answer them from a historical point of view, having built the entire set. And if you have any questions about painting them, whilst I do have painting videos for all 5 of the leagues coming out this week, so Monday to Friday, we can do a bit of painting today as well. I might start getting some paint down on this Hernkin Pioneer. Or I might do it on a different one, so that way.
That'll be cool. The Pioneers with their hover bikes.
Because I think this one I was going to use for the tutorial, because it's the one that they previewed.
Yeah. So
I might just do this one. I built all 3.
How big are they? Like physically, are they? I mean, I can kind of see from the scale in your hand there, but they look to be about like this. Are they roughly the size of an Outrider? It looks to be like an Outrider type base.
I can literally do it live.
Because I know that's something that a lot of people have been asking, is like how big the models are.
So there's the double stack Pioneer, and there's the Outrider. It's a bit dusty. Haven't used it.
Okay, so they are roughly the size of an Outrider then.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I don't know why. Whenever I see Blood Angel Outriders, I get real Akira vibes.
Yeah, I do. I'm just gonna dust this because that's gross.
your dusty Blood Angels.
Yeah, I just haven't had an opportunity to use them. Hobby top tip for you guys: if you have a medium shade brush and it's clean, and you have dusty miniatures, just use your medium shade brush to dust them off. There you go. Look at that. Look at how much nicer that looks now. You don't have to use a proper feather duster or a thing or anything like that. Just use an old medium shade brush.
There's one fine looking Outrider, sir.
This was the one I filmed a tutorial on. So there you go.
Surprised.
That's the size comparison for you.
Yeah. Yeah, so they are roughly the same size.
There you go, top down.
Yeah.
They're on the same size base.
Yeah. They're very cool. I actually really like the look of the bikes.
I think they're really nice.
It's got to be real galling for the Space Marines though.
Why? Because they don't have them.
Well, because Mister Call has built them, the Impulsor and the Repulsor.
Yeah.
And then he was like, they were like, we need some bikes, and they were all sitting there going, yeah, man, we're gonna get hover bikes again. Custodi's gonna look like idiots now because we're gonna be on hover bikes as well. Didn't get them. They just got regular bikes with no ground clearance. And then what comes along but two space dwarves delivering pizza on a hovering scooter?
I think, I think, I actually think hover bikes don't fit Space Marines these days.
Yeah, I mean to be fair, aesthetically, like the Outrider bikes, I think they do look. I mean, they've got no ground clearance whatsoever, but they do look really cool. Like just the big chunky. It does speak to the whole like Space Marine. I don't know. I guess Space Marines obviously they have tactics, they have strategies, they can be very sneaky, but like they are just like a brute force weapon in some ways, and like at the scale of a bike, like the big blocky wheel kind of thing, it just I don't know, it just works. It works really nicely.
No, for sure. Shane Murphy says, "Are your 5 videos you did one for each Votan faction? I'm keen to try Ymir, red, blue, grey, black with contrast paints." Yes. So I have a video coming up for the Ymir Conglomerate, the Cronus Hegemony, the Orani Surta Regulates, the Great Arthurian League, and the one I always forget, the Trans-Hyperion Alliance.
Hyperion Alliance, yeah.
And I've done it on all of the Hearthkin. So there's a video on how to do it for all 5. What we also have done so far is Uthar the Destined, because Great Arthurian League, the Hearthkin have the white green Aquafresh armor, and they have the turquoise trousers. But then anything that's got thick armor, as you can see here represented on the cover, Uthar, for example, he then has the turquoise armor. So what we'll do is I'll actually show you this, because I think this is probably the most interesting part, I think, for a lot of people. Just making sure I didn't accidentally share my code for the Leagues of Votann on camera then. Which I almost did with the Daemons Codex. I don't think I did. If you did see it, don't use it, because I need it, because I use the Warhammer 40,000 app more than I use Battlescribe these days. So here we go. Look at that. So this is some of the miniature art that we've got in the book. I really like this. The thing that's interesting about the Great Arthurian League, right, is that you've got this kind of white cream on this armor. It's the same on the vehicles, but actually these panels here, they are almost black. They're not the turquoise.
Yeah, they're like a much darker one, right?
Yeah, they're not the same turquoise as, say, the Hernkin Pioneers there, or Uthar the Destined.
Uthar the Burst.
Uthar the Burst. So yeah, here we go. So let me show you some more. So we've got the Brockier Thunderkin. So there's a Ymir Conglomerate Brockier Thunderkin.
God, that looks so cool.
Yeah. There's a Trans-Hyperion Alliance Brockier Thunderkin.
See, the thing is, I like the GTL color scheme is cool, because on the one hand it looks a lot to me like and I've said this before, like almost like the Lego moon buggy sets from the 80s and 90s, which were like the first ever, do you remember Lego did that whole mining thing, right?
Yeah.
It looks like that, and I had those when I was a kid, so I've got a big fan of this. But the bright colours on the Ymir and the Hyperion Alliance guys, the red and the orange, they just pop so nicely.
Yeah. We've got some more Ymir stuff. So there's how it looks on the vehicles. So they continue. The Ymir stuff is probably the easiest to identify because they don't do color swaps. They are just red, black, and sort of a blue for the trousers. There's Trans-Hyperion Alliance, so they then have a black bike but with orange armor, which is interesting.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
We've got the conglomerate, the Ymir Carl, which we've all seen. We've all seen him. And there's Thingy, and there's the Grimnir. There is some really cool stuff for the Grimnir.
The Grimnir is the coolest model, I think, in the entire range. Personally,
it's possibly one of the coolest models in Warhammer 40,000. We've got the Einhir Haesir here in Trans-Hyperion. Einhir Hearthguard. Here's the Berserkers that everyone's worried about, with good reason. And then we have, there we go. So this here is basically what I followed for my videos. So all of these. So I've done that, as you've seen on Warcom. You've seen all of these. That one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Does the Codex have paint schemes for any custom leagues, or is it just the named ones? It's just the named ones at the moment. Double D. You know, they've done pretty well to come up with 5 paint schemes.
They're all quite different.
They're all quite different. The only thing that's a little bit annoying in here is that there aren't any kind of other examples of the Urani Surta.
Yeah.
It's just that one. And I think they might be my favourite.
The Urani Surta look almost like the most like realistic. Oh no, the stream's disconnected. Oh no, the stream's back. There we go. It's
reconnected.
There we are.
Go.
But yeah, Shane Murphy in chat says the Hyperion Einhir and the solid orange looks amazing. I agree. I think the orange is very cool. I do think Ymir have the best badge out of all of them.
Yeah.
Like the best symbol.
Yeah.
Looks like something out of Stargate.
Yeah, that's true. So yeah, a video for all 5 of those is coming out. The question I'm having with myself internally is what to paint the rest of the set as. Now, I feel like it should probably be Great Arthurian League, because that is the box art, and that is what we are known for around here. And I don't want to end up with, you know, a completely disparate force of different colours. Solid orange, tricky in contrast, I assume. It's a lot easier than you think. What I did, if you would like to know, is I sprayed it, I want to say Wraithbone. This all happened last week, so I'm a bit all over the place. Gryph-hound orange, followed by Fugan orange, and then I optionally, you don't have to do this, but what I then did is I relayered it with Fire Dragon Bright. Because if you look at the Ymir conglomerate stuff, this is what I find interesting. Is that orange. You could have used Magma Droth Flame, but it's too warm. And I'll show you why. So on here, it's a cool orange. Weirdly.
Yeah.
Same. There we go. This is the best example, right? So it's like a cool orange. It's not a fiery orange. A Magma Droth Flame is a really fiery orange, whereas Gryph-hound orange is almost perfect for this. So it's just popping that all over, shading it with Fugan Ra, and then relayering it with Fire Dragon Bright, which is optional. And I do explain that in the video. I'll just go and grab the miniature so you guys can see it. I'll give you a full up close and personal with the. Oh god, I'm tangled up. Yeah, it's over there on the spinny dial, so I have to
go grab it.
Adam, entertain them.
I don't know what to do. I'm painting Thousand Suns at the moment, so I'm not painting Leagues of Votann, so I don't have them yet.
I have returned.
He's back.
I have returned. Orange. Thousand Suns.
Well, you know what? I did do my. I don't know how clearly anyone will be able to see it, and obviously, you know, the leagues are much more interesting. But my Araman, which is painted using the Warhipster tutorial thereof, he does have Magma Droth Flame and Fire and Gryph-hound Orange on his sort of flamey thing that's coming out of his disc.
So here he is.
Oh, he's cool.
Well, so okay, how's this for a thing? Whilst we're continuing the stream, why don't I paint one of these for you guys to show you how it looks? Is that what would you guys like to see that?
I mean, I'll speak for the chat and say yes.
Let me know if that's what you guys would like to see.
Can we do a poll on here? You can do polls, right?
I can do polls.
Can you do a poll with 5 options of what they should paint?
You can do a poll with 4 options.
Yeah, well, minus that one, right?
Go on, I dare you. You dare me.
Go on.
You dare me, do you? You dare?
Okay, well, look, I don't know how to do polls on here, but let's do it like this. So let's go for... Are you setting up a poll? Can I do that, or can you do that? I don't know.
I can do that.
No, I was going to say, I don't know what my admin powers are, because otherwise I was literally just going to write 1 for Kronos Hegemony, 2 for GTL, 3 for this, and then just tell people to put 1, 2, 3, or 4.
These are the Trans-Hyperion Alliance, right?
Kriegsman. That's pretty cool. What are you doing, the traditional Krieg scheme, or are you doing like a sort of personalized Krieg scheme?
Which league should I paint live? GTL. No, we've got to type them out properly.
Yeah.
Knows what I mean. Greater Thurian League. Kronos Hegemony. Add option. What are they called? The Trans-Hyperion Alliance.
What, you want to do another orange one?
The Greater... No, that's what they're called. The
Urani Certa.
The only one that I can't fit in there is the Ymir Conglomerate, because I can only do a poll of 4 options.
Well, hang on. You've already done, as you've just shown off, the Trans-Hyperion. Why don't you just do Ymir instead of that one, so we get another one and we can sit them alongside each other and compare?
Well, no, because I've got all of these here.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, which one did you finish last?
Hang on, I'll ask this. We won't do Great Arthurian League. There we go. There's a poll. Are you planning to release other leagues' painting tutorials? Yes, Hunter, I am. So we're going to do all 5 of the leagues on the Hearthkin. I'm then planning to do a video on this guy, the Einherjar Champion. And I'm planning to do a video on the Hernkin Pioneers as well. But they will be in one of the 5 leagues rather than, doing one of each league. Because I don't have enough models to do that.
That's the Einherjar Champion, isn't it?
That is the Einherjar Champion. There he is.
He is a cool looking dude.
I would paint him live, but I want to do a video on him. And I only have one. So if I paint him live, I then got to strip him to do the video again, and I do not have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Let's check on the poll.
We're on 17 votes. Come on, guys. There's 30 of you watching. Vote now. Vote. This is a democracy. It depends on your participation.
So let me just open the page so you guys can know which colours are which.
Yeah, an informed voter is a good voter.
It is a democracy, and we do seek to have the greatest, the integrity of our elections. There we go.
Yeah.
So
here we go.
Urani Certa Regulates. That's this one. We have. Oh, he's right in there. Come here. Oh, the Trans-Hyperion Alliance. He's there.
Somebody line says forget informed decisions. Choose Trans-Hyperion Alliance. I think that's gonna win anyway. So I think you're all right, Double D.
There's our 4. What do you think of doing head swaps with Volkite Berserkers for some of the elites? Yeah, I think you can absolutely do it. That would make them look even more Dwardy, which is very cool. I think somebody has done one already, which is... I think it was in the Warcom article. Somebody used a Fire Slayer's head on one of these guys. I don't know what the kit for the Volkite Berserkers is going to look like yet, but they, to me, feel like they are a really good opportunity for doing the Volkite Berserkers and stuff as the heads.
Sorry, forgive my ignorance of AOS. Is a Volkite Berserker clearly a Fire Slayer's unit? Is it a new unit?
No, it's not new. It's been around for a long time.
I just find it's quite cool, right? Because isn't the weapon that these guys use? No, I suppose there's Vulcanite.
No, they use Volkite. They're the Volkite Berserkers are they're a unit of angry naked dwarves that run around with double axes.
Nice. No, I just mean I like the fact they've carried over the Volkite reference to the way that the what am I trying to say? The way that the Leagues of Votann weapon is spelt is the same and pronounced is the same as this, as opposed to Volkite, which is, one of these, which is what the Imperium uses.
We'll let the poll run for 2 more minutes. We've had 25 votes. If you would like to affect the vote, make sure to choose what you want to see. At the moment, the Trans-Hyperion Alliance are winning with 44% of the vote.
Yeah. We need to do... Yeah, the Trans-Hyperion Alliance look like they're going to take it. Which I can see why, because it's a very cool scheme.
It is very cool. Not the most powerful in the book, which is nice.
The most balanced one, right? I think.
Yeah, they're very good. I mean, they're all very good in here, right?
They're all very good, yeah.
There aren't any...
Is Trans-Hyperion Alliance the one where if you lose a dude, you get +1 to hit?
I can't remember. We can look it up in a minute. 1 more minute in the poll, guys. We've got 31 likes on the stream. That's awesome. Everybody who is watching right now has liked the stream. That's great. 100%. 100% hit rate.
I'm gonna do some advertising on Twitter live. So you'll probably hear yourself in a second because I'm gonna get you up on my phone. So.
Oh great. Hello, me from the future. Oh, we've got 37 likes on the stream now. That's amazing.
Wow.
If you haven't already, smash the like button.
What a bunch of bosses.
I mean, I could do a little bit thing that I'm a little bit uncomfortable doing, but I could say now that if you guys want to become a YouTube channel member or a Patreon subscriber, make sure to join the Discord, because right now in the Discord, all 5 of these videos are available early for my Discord folks who are YouTube members and who are Patreon subscribers. So you can see all those videos right away if you want to. I keep hearing Trans-Hyperion as Trans-Siberian. Their battle theme is an epic version of Carol of the Bells. That's very good. Hunter has ordered his box and still doesn't know what scheme to paint them. It depends on what you want to do, mate. You can do your own one. There are rules for minor leagues.
I will say that Vincent Notley, who is one of the moderators on the Warhammer community chat and is on Twitter, I encourage you to check his stuff out. He has done, and he posted on Twitter, his own scheme, which looks very cool, which is purple Votan. Which actually looks very nice, and he's got a kind of cool name for them. It's quite fun, this, because they're all kind of vaguely corporate names, so you can just make up all these companies. I'm actually Mr. Boob with his. I was thinking today.
The Praetorian Trading Company.
Yeah, I was going to say I was on a bike ride, and I was like, you know what? The Praetorian Trading Company must trade with the Leagues of Votann, surely.
One would assume. Right, the
Chunky
winner
Memes
was.
here. Hey, Memes.
Hello, Chunky Memes. The winner was the Cronus, not Cronus, the Trans-Hyperion Alliance for the orange. So, looks like that's what we're doing.
I'm just going to do some advertising, so just give me a second. Not that it needs it.
So I tell you what I'll do, guys, is I'll start with the orange. I didn't do this in the video. I started with the trousers in the video. But I'll start with the orange to demonstrate this for all of you. Just check that everyone can see that all right. We're going to paint this Thane. We're going to do him. So the color, as I said, is going to be Gryph-hound Orange, and it's over Grey Seer. This one. So this is going to be slightly different to our other guy because it's not been primed in Wraithbone. But we're just going to get Gryph-hound Orange all over. All of his armor.
There we go. A wee bit of advertisement.
I appreciate the advertising.
It's all right. I've got to reach out to my tweet people.
The Twitter army.
Do you know what, Daniel? Do you know what, Daniel? I agree. This guy is a fucking legend. He means you, by the way, Josh. Obviously.
I haven't seen the chat.
Let's. I will handle chat responsibilities while you're busy getting the orange on there. It's Negator or Negator says, planning to buy some paints at my local game store later today. Blood Angels red or Baal red, then shaded for my Ymir conglomerate. What's your recommendation, Mr. Warhipster?
So in my video, I believe I did. I can check it in just a moment. I believe I did Flesh Tearers red, and then I shaded it, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's quite a dark. So I was gonna say it's quite a dark red, isn't it? And Baal red is very, very, very bright. It's great colours, very bright though. And obviously, Blood Angels red is like almost like a mid-tone between the two now.
Yeah. So I think my recommendation, just in general, for doing something like smooth armor panels, it's much easier to pick up Baal red and the new Agrax Earthshade or Caribou Crimson or Nuln Oil, whichever you kind of prefer, to just whack it all over, because Baal red goes on super easy, so you get a nice smooth flat red. Blood Angels red is pretty easy paint to work with, but can occasionally get a bit gunky if you're not careful with it. So I think I would pretty much these days, if you're going to be painting an armored unit and you want, for sake of ease, I'd recommend Baal red, and then picking up a shade as well. But I think on mine I did Flesh Tearers red. I'm pretty certain on mine what I did was I did Flesh Tearers red, and then I did I want to say Storm Fiend on the trousers, and then I did an all over. I know that I did this. I did an all over shade of Nuln Oil across the entire thing, which is a really fun experience because I haven't done that in a long time. Where you just shade an entire miniature every color with the same color.
Nice. Okay, well there you go. Hope that answers your question. And MTTBSSTT says, any advice for being endlessly torn between conforming to a guild versus homebrew? I mean, I'll take that one first because most of my armies are like I paint them in my own variation on a scheme, and I think it depends what you want to do. I think if you really like a particular color scheme that you want to follow, go for it. Of one of the 5 major leagues or guilds, whatever. Well, I guess they are leagues rather than guilds. But otherwise, like if you do want to do your own thing, and I guess from a more from the competitive tabletop standpoint, you already might end up with somebody, who's going to be like, oh, those aren't painted as such and such, you can't play anything. If you're worried about that, then paint them as some variation on something. Even if there's one that you think you're going to play more than others, but then you want the flexibility later on to do, the homebrew stuff that's in the Codex, then paint it in a variation. And what I would say as well is, like, stuff that I've done for my own bits and bobs has very much been, the techniques that Josh uses. I'll just replicate those on a given color in a different way for like a homebrew set. So it's still very much, I think, useful for homebrew. But really, it just comes down to what your long-term preference is. I don't think the whole like doing it for competitive reasons is the way to go. I think do what you'll enjoy painting, to be honest. If you really like the Trans-Hyperion Alliance, because obviously it seems to be very popular, paint them as Trans-Hyperion Alliance. If you go to an event and you're playing and you say, oh, actually, I'm going to play these as Urani Certa Regulates or whatever, as long as the whole army's the same rules, which, it will be these days, if someone kicks off about it, then, I mean, I would say that's more their problem than anything else. But yeah, I think it's entirely up to you. But I do tend to lean towards homebrew variations on schemes. Like, just minor things, different trouser colour, different shoulder pad colour, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything to add.
I have nothing to add to this. So Chewy says, an MTTB. I'm going to call you that because it's quicker. He says, I love orange, but I also love gold. Sorry, I love Goldmember. It's a very funny film. So apologies to anyone who's Dutch in the chat. He says, too similar. And Chewy says, that's why I generally avoided using gold on my orange Space Marines. Yes, and I will say, if you watch the Tale of Many Warhipsters videos and you would like to see an example of orange done very, very well on Space Marines, you will see Chewy's army, the Knights of Macha, who are very, very cool. And Josh, myself, and Rich, who also does the Tale of Many Warhipsters as well with us, are huge fans of that. And that's a really good example of an orange scheme done, like, nicely. It's orange and white a lot of the time, right? And so it's very similar to the Trans-Hyperion almost.
Mm. Yeah, no, 100%.
What else we got? So Insnagator says, thank you for the input. Like the idea of punchier red as well. So Baal also being easier seems perfect. That's cool. Adam Doughty says, I genuinely miss hearing you fellas on the Conclave podcast. That's very kind of you. Basically, what's happened is I've been rubbish. It's mostly my fault. And I just haven't had time to do anything over like the last quite literally 4 to 6 months, just because my work's got very busy. That's why, like, my YouTube channel, to the extent it exists, I basically don't have time to put content on there anymore, which sucks. But I can do stuff like this that's live with Josh, which is better anyway, because I get to talk to more people, because bigger audience and all that. But I will say now, I would like to get the Conclave going again with Josh. We have been talking about it. We have sort of had some initial discussions. So watch this space. I know there are people out there who want to hear us again, and I would like to get it going, because honestly, it was great fun just to make. But yeah, we'll try and get that going again. And obviously, we have the advantage of having Mr. Warhipster as our resident painting genius. So actually, what I might even do, and this is like a live proposal, so Josh hasn't heard this before, but if we were to get it going again, and people were to send in like painting questions to... if we had a little segment on the podcast that was about like hobby and painting, if people sent in questions, would you be willing to answer them on the format to podcast?
Agony Hipster.
Agony, yeah, we could call it Agony Hipster, although that does sound a lot like a kind of product that you take if your hips are bad.
Yeah, or it sounds like a movement.
Yeah.
People who non-ironically, people who ironically really like My Chemical Romance. I love My Chemical Romance, but there are people out there who ironically like My Chemical Romance.
I was at the gym the other day, and I was in like one of the rooms in the gym doing training, and I guess the PT who'd run the class in there beforehand had left his iPhone connected to like their system to play songs. And yeah, I mean, Chewy's just said, I'm not okay. I'm not okay came on, followed by like like a whole bunch of 2005 2004 through to about 2007 indie songs in succession, which, normally at the gym it's like kind of pumping like EDM and stuff like that, which is, it's good for working out. But I said to my PT, I was like, how come this is on? And he was like, oh yeah, Alex, the other PT, has clearly left his phone connected. So when I finished my like gym session, I went up to him and I was like, why did you turn off the like 2005 like emo/indie playlist? I felt like I was back in my youth.
So if you wanted honesty, that's all you had to say. Oh man.
Well, I'm doing my wedding playlist at the moment because I'm getting married next year, and one of the things that we have done is we've already added like all of the standards. We've got My Chemical Romance, we've got some Fallout Boy on there. Like it's pretty much of that era at the moment.
Which My Chemical Romance song have you got on there?
So I think at the moment we were going to go for I'm Not Okay, even though it's like not really a wedding song, just because it's a bit more oomphy. Black Parade's just a bit long.
I would recommend Teenagers.
Yeah, Teenage is a good shout. I also really liked oh god, I can't even remember the name of the song now, but it's the one that goes burn all the empires. It's a shame to rise and be in love with all of these vampires. Yeah, I can't remember the name of the song, and I'm not going to sing live on YouTube, so yeah.
Is that
Dance Dance by Fallout Boy? Yes, of course, Dance Dance is on there.
Oh, is it not from Sugar We're Going Down?
No, that's on there as well. I don't know if we're going to get through them all.
Oh, so for those of you questioning at home, what I'm doing now is I'm putting Rattling Grime on the clothes.
Sharts McGinty. So this is while Josh has observed the Josh Beautiful painting, but I'm quite happy to talk about wedding music for some reason. But Sharts McGinty says, my wife demanded I Will Wait for You by Mumford and Sons at our wedding 10 years ago. It's funny because my fiance did threaten me, jokingly of course, with having an entirely Mumford and Sons based playlist. And I was like, what, just 4 hours of no, diddling, 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 diddling. That's like sort of faux public school boys doing faux country fiddly diddly nonsense. No offense to anyone who's a monk.
I will wait for you. It's a great song.
It's a good song, but isn't he like nuts now? The guy from Mumford and Sons.
I think the bassist. One of them's a bit far right.
the old pop folk to far right conveyor.
Yeah, no, one of them went a bit far right, and
I used to sing.
I don't think is it Matthew? Is he the main one?
I don't know.
Max, I can't remember. Anyway, I don't think they've gone. The band is fine, I think, but I think one of them went a bit far right, and they kicked
I used to
him
play
out.
the banjo, and I bloody love Donald Trump.
Yes, I think that's the story. I could be wrong.
we just just committed some light slander live on YouTube.
That's where I get a message and I get an email tomorrow saying, you're being sued for libel.
Please note that for disclaimer reasons, the Warhipster channel and anybody involved therein does not wish to imply that anyone in Mumford and Sons is involved in the far right. Any references thereto are for parody and comedic purposes only.
There we go. That's my lawyer saying that. So he's not my lawyer.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. The monkey on your back, says, I'm working on the Chaos Demons Combat Patrol, and you've made a Bloodletter and Fleshhound painting video. Can you do a Blood Crushers, please?
Yes, I will do a Blood Crushers. I believe one of my birthday presents, which is next Monday for anybody who wants to send me a gift. I believe one of my birthday presents is the Chaos Demons Combat Patrol, and obviously contained within that are Fleshhounds, Bloodletters, a Bloodmaster, and 3 Blood Crushers. So I will be doing that. I'm literally if one of the boxes that has turned up as my birthday present is a Demons Combat Patrol, then I am just one box of 6 Blood Crushers away from my dream 2,000 points Khorne Demons and Scarbrand. I want Scarbrand.
Here's my question, right? Do we think, on the subject of Khorne, we think that there's ever a debate, like in the Brass Fortress, right? That they all sit round and work out which one of the blood somethings is more important. Like the others are like, well, we're blood crushers, we crush the blood. And the other guys, yeah, but I'm a blood master. I'm the master of the blood. And they're like, well, that's not very good if it's been crushed, is it? Right? And the other guy's like, well, I'm a blood thirster. I'm just thirsty for the blood in whatever form, whether it's been mastered or crushed. So I'm better.
Maybe there is a. I mean, there's a clear hierarchy, right?
Exactly.
The bloodthirster is the best because he's the biggest.
He's the boss. Yeah, he's the biggest boss. What else we got in chat? Adam Doughty says, do you think we will see a release of GW's own versions of things like Streaking Grime, etc.? I don't know.
I think it's possible you'll see it. There used to be the Forge World weathering powders. They used to be a thing, but they're not anymore. I think you could possibly see it. I don't know. I don't know if Games Workshop will ever really make it though, because excuse me. It's not really in their paint philosophy, in their design to Streaking Grime stuff. It's also like, I think, you know, if they're gonna do it, they'll want to do it in a way that fits with the rest of the line. And I believe Streaking Grime has a bit of oil in it, and I don't think Games Workshop does oil.
Unless it's the Nuln variety.
So yeah, I mean, it would be cool to see a Games Workshop version of those things. I think there's definitely play in it. I think it would be very, very cool. But stuff like, the products like Dirty Down Rust and stuff like that. What Games Workshop kind of tends to do is encourage you to do it using different paints. So like my recipe for doing Rust, for example, is to put Typhus Corrosion on and then dry brush it with Scrag Brown. And that gives you that kind of rusty effect.
Rusty.
So yeah, it's basically whoever makes or supplies pigments or whatever to Games Workshop, if they make an oil or an enamel or something like that as well, then maybe you'll see it. But as it stands, I don't think you will. But it would be cool to see what their version of that stuff would be. Because Typhus Corrosion is really good. Nurgle's Rot is really good. Blood for the Blood God is really good.
I love Nurgle's Rot.
Yeah, I know.
Such a great
paint. What's it got? Nihilak Oxide. It's a very nice paint as well. They've got some really good ones. So I don't know. Yeah.
And do you know what? That has reminded me, while we are on stream on the Warhipster, for those of you who are participating in the Tale of Many Warhipsters, and if you haven't, do send an entry of a painted model or models to therealwarhipster@gmail.com to be part of the Tale of Many Warhipsters. But this month, obviously, or not this month, but this submission, the month we were about to come into, I did mention in the last Tale of Many Warhipsters we should do the challenge is the spooky model this month. So Nihilak Oxide, it's a good colour for spooky models.
Is it as good as Briar Queen Chill is now, though?
Perhaps not, no. But that was my tenuous link.
I just don't want to false advertise to the people,
But it's still. No, sorry. You know what? I'm thinking of the wrong one. I'm thinking of Hexwraith Flame. That's why.
Hexwraith Flame is very good. That is also a contrast paint now.
Years.
I mean, it always was, right? Like.
Yeah, it was like the first one, wasn't it?
Yeah, Hexwraith Flame and Nighthaunt Gloom were kind of like proto contrast paints. they were testing. I think they were really kind of testing whether or not the idea worked.
Yeah.
And this is
Turns out it does.
yeah, this is one of those things of like, you know, if contrast. This is, I was going to make a video all about this. If contrast paints are really that bad, why is every single other paint company making them?
People think they're bad.
Yeah, there are still people out there who are just like, nee.
How do they go?
They go, nee. Like, okay, like I'm a little bit obsessive, right? And I use it on absolutely everything, and that's because that's the style of the channel. That's what we do, right? But like, you know, there are things that, you know, contrast paints are a tool that everybody should have in their box. But like, this is the thing is like, I have heard people say they're terrible, they're a fad, they're a phase, they're gonna get rid of them, blah 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 blah. And
People do
it's
that
like,
about like, the internet and the motor car. So
yes. And it's like, well, that would all be true if the army painter hadn't made speed paints and Vallejo hadn't now made express color and scale 75. They've done one, I think.
yeah. We've just had a question that's relevant while you're putting this on, Josh. From Shane Murphy, he says Black Templar or Legion going on at the moment.
This is Black Legion going on at the moment. Black Legion, I didn't think when I first saw it that I was going to use it as much as I am. And it turns out that it's now my favourite paint.
It is a great paint, isn't it? It's really cool.
Yeah. So as you would have seen on my recent Rohan video, if you just add a tiny little bit of medium to Black Legion, you get this gorgeous dark brown grey. You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm listening to you and watching the reading the chat. No, the Rohan. To be honest, the Rohan stuff looks really awesome. Like the Rohan Battle Host video is, or the Riders Rohan, I guess, video is really cool.
I am really struggling at the moment because all I want to do with my life now is paint Lord of the Rings.
Just become a Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, just literally delete every video and just become a Lord of the Rings only chat. No, I'm joking. I'm just so in love with it at the moment. But yes, this is Black Legion going on at the moment. I particularly like that Black Legion can be used to just get a really nice dark black. You don't have to do what we did a lot of, which was layering of paints.
Yeah, because you don't need that that undercoat of like for do you know why? Because I haven't painted any sisters with the newer contrast paints, but all my sisters use your Basilicanum Grey underlayer and then Black Templar on top to get that kind of nice, rich, dark black on the armor. But I suspect with Black Legion, I probably wouldn't need to do the underlayer in quite the same way.
No, what you can do instead now is you can paint Black Legion all over, then paint in all the metallics. You don't need to paint in the white details because what you can then do is just whack Nuln Oil over all the black armor, over all the white details. The new Nuln Oil, not the old Nuln Oil. Just whack the new Nuln Oil over the top of the white, the silver, the gold, and the black armor, and you'll just get a close to perfect. I mean, let's be real. Black Legion is basically a single pigment contrast paint, so it's flat. You don't get that kind of highlighting thing going on with it that you do with Black Templar, which is why you might want to use Black Templar for certain things. But that's why I still do use Black Templar for a lot of stuff. But man, just it's night and day between Black Templar and Black Legion. Like Black Legion is just a black, whereas Black Templar is a very dark grey.
Yeah.
Which is why I used to do it over the top of purple or blue or grey.
Yeah, because it gives you that like interesting like I think your Abaddon tutorial, because I used your tutorial for my Abaddon. Doesn't he has like
he goes over
dark blue under his
I think he goes over Pterodon turquoise actually.
Yeah, under his black armor, which looks really cool. Just to jump into chat for a second.
Yes.
LGBF Gaming says a few things, so I'll say them all together. It says, "Good afternoon from Poland. All of the painting videos are awesome. I'm so pumped for the leagues. Just getting into Warhammer with the wife, so Votan will be my first army, purely for how nice they look. Love the 41st Millennium NASA-esque vehicles." I completely agree. I think the vehicles look really cool, and that's awesome. Welcome to Warhammer and welcome to the channel. And glad you're enjoying Josh's video content.
I'm glad you're enjoying my video content too.
Um, and
Welcome to the hobby.
yeah, good stuff, man. Is when you say getting into Warhammer with the wife, is your wife, if I may ask, your wife also doing Votan, or is she doing like a different army? Is she doing Warhammer with you? So be interested to know. And we have a question from Wargamer Ape, Josh, who says, thinking about doing bone color armor for the Leagues of Votann. Any tips on what to use or techniques?
Yes. Skeleton Horde. And you're done.
They look quite cool with bone armor, actually. That like carapace armor.
They would. They would look very cool.
Yeah.
They would look. They would look like it depends. Okay, so let me just clarify that a little bit more, so that it's not just a. Doesn't sound like I'm just saying just fucking do it, Skeleton Horde. No, don't sound like that. No, what I mean is basically, my friend, what type of bone? Have you got a reference of bone? Because
He has. I was gonna say. I'll just jump in because he's already said. He said, "I saw some tome keepers, and I thought that would look good on some dwarves."
okay, what do the Tome Keepers look like?
The Tome Keepers, I will try and find a picture of the Tome Keepers because they're like a white dwarf, Primaris chapter, aren't they? Or are they? Oh no, they are. I guess they are a slightly older one. Let me just see if I can find a picture, and I will send it to you, Josh. Can you see our chat in Discord? Because I will send it to you to have a look at.
I can go and look at that in just a moment once I've painted the Black Legion over the top of the gun's carapace.
No worries, I've just sent it to you, and I am going to go back and find so I can see the chat. Where is it?
Because there is two different styles of bone. Yeah, Warhipster towers.
Well, so Wargamer 8, Josh will have a look at the Tome Keepers. I've just sent him the reference picture, so he'll be able to see that in a minute and let you know. LGBF Gaming says, just replying to what I asked, he says, she hasn't decided what army she wants yet. I have a feeling it'll be Sisters of Battle or Orcs. I mean, I have a very extensive Sisters of Battle, and I do have some Orcs as well. Obviously, Sisters of Battle, I think, are very cool. So that would be a great army. She'll be back shortly. She's picking walnuts from the trees. There you go. I've been replaced on screen by a briefly by a Tome Keeper.
Let me look up Tome Keepers. I need to see a picture of them in the flesh.
Like yes, in the ceramite.
Oh yes, I see it. Okay.
Is that like quite? It's almost lighter than the Deathwing.
Yeah. Okay. So there's kind of two ways you could do this. You could spray them white, and let me demonstrate why I'm saying this.
It's gone to the cupboard of power. Wargame Rape, you should be very proud.
This is a Death Guard Space Marine, and this is how I did my Horus Heresy color for the Space Marines. So they do have that kind of almost more Tome Keeper-y kind of, at least judging by the pictures that I can see. This is a little bit darker, so it's more of an ivory color. But if you did this over a warmer base coat, warmer undercoat, you would get slightly kind of more of a good guy aesthetic. So yeah, okay, so yeah, you could. So this was sprayed with Grey Seer, and then we did Mortarion Grime, followed by Seraphim Sepia, and that was it. We did some highlights on it, but that was the armor color right there. is to get that. We did the same thing on a horse of Rohan. But I was a little bit thicker with the Seraphim Sepia than I was on this. So I would recommend Wargamer Ape watching this video, watching the how to paint Death Guard, because that will give you close. If you go on a white, if you go over a white, it'll be brighter than this. It's worth testing, absolutely. But I think it would look absolutely sick on these guys. We've got some MTB Marek QX says, "Hello Warhipster, I just watched your video about Votan and it's great. I'm looking forward to paint mine as green regulates. Do you have some advice for painting them? Maybe 2 of their primary colours?" Yeah, I've got a video coming out on how to paint them, my friend. How to paint the Urani Surta regulates. Basically, the 2 main colours on it are Dark Angel's green and Gut Ripper flesh. I do then relayer the armour with War flesh to make it look nice and flat. Yeah, those are the things. But do look out for that video. You'll see exactly how I do it. It's coming very, very soon. The Thurian's clothing is teal/turquoise, but the plate armour appears noticeably greener and darker, e.g. in the Thunderkin. Any advice on the approach for this variation? Have you seen this video?
Uthar the Destined, for those of you who don't know.
So this video went out yesterday at 7:30 p.m. This is how I would do the kind of the paler of green of the Great Arthurian League. However, to make it darker, what I would do is I'd do that exactly as it was, but maybe don't do the Sons of Horus green / I want to say Temple Guard blue that I did. Again, total blur of last week.
No, I think that is exactly what it was because I watched the video.
Yeah. Don't do that bit. Instead of doing that bit, take some Black Templar, thin it down, 3 or 4 parts, contrast medium, and put that over the top to get it nice and dark. And that'll work a treat.
Bish bash bosh
for the darker one. I'll probably to help you, MTDBST, is I'm going to be doing this guy. So all the pictures that I can see is, and it's probably because of the way it's lit in the photos, but they're paler up here on the shoulders and on the arms, and it's darker down here. So what I'm probably going to do for him is I'm probably going to do the exact thing. So there will be a video on the Einherjar Champion. And on these, they are going to be slightly darker than old Uthar. So if you want to, you can watch and wait me do it. Wait and watch me do it. Yes.
Awesome. Hey, Marek's just become a new subscriber, so welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard, my good friend. So because I'm painting at arm's length, I'm probably going to have to do some Greyseer tidying up on this one once it's dry. But so far we've used 3 colours. We've used Griffhound Orange, we've used Black Legion, and we've used Rattling Grime. And that's where we're up to on him so far. He's looking pretty good.
He is.
We'll probably get him to battle ready. And then I'll do the armour, the layer up. I've missed a couple of spots actually. One moment, callers.
Oh, how dare you?
Well, it's,
painting it live on YouTube and you miss some spots. Disgusting.
It's I'm sat all the way back here. Now, this isn't me fishing for rules questions, but
Do you have any rules questions?
no, yeah. Do you have any rules questions? And if you don't have any rules questions, that's fine.
Yeah, let us know if you got rules questions. Fire away.
If you don't have any rules questions, I would ask why you don't have any rules questions. Is it because you've watched a lot of content about about the Leagues of Votann, or is it because you were somebody who partook in a leaked book, which I think
Naughty.
naughty, you're not teasing anybody with that behavior. I think it's probably worth addressing it again on this live stream.
Oh, hello. He's going for the controversy.
Yeah. Because I think some people were
Oh no, it has disconnected indeed.
and we're back. This is what we did.
Gruffhold Orange.
This is the
You
color
have to
I
say
use.
it like.
Yeah,
You have to say it like.
I use Gruffhold Orange for the armor. And don't worry, I'm gonna keep going. Going to try Baal Red and Space Wolves Grey for first Ymir test I do. Yeah, I mean that's pretty good. That'll be close. You might want to shade that the Space Wolves Grey with some Drakenhof Nightshade once you've put it on there, just to get it down that little bit. It's a case of I struggled with how grey / how blue I wanted it to be, and I ended up going for a bluer version.
I think they look cool with red and blue.
Yeah, I think they look great. Well, this is what I went for.
Hard-working dwarves wearing jeans and jean jacket with some red armor over the top. The old Canadian tuxedo.
MTTBST says, I found this channel today while looking for more detail on the leagues. Now subscribed and joined the Patreon as I can't wait to watch the other colour schemes being painted. Oh, that's very, very kind of you. Thank you so much, sir.
You know what? If we get the chance, I'll come down to you, Josh. We can do some battle report content with the leagues as well, so we can have some league based stuff, as they are the big thing at the moment. We have a rules question.
Okay.
From Marek. He says, "Okay then, how about the regulates? So this is the Irani Surta regulates, the Ursur, as they are called. Bonus with judgment tokens. This is one of their abilities. Do they need to put one token on each enemy unit, or what about level 2 judgment token bonus? Is it required to put level 1 also?" So my understanding of the Irani Surta bonus that they have is that you get +1 toughness across your units. So everybody just gets a toughness boost, which is quite good. And their judgment token, I guess it's their ancestral judgment, Josh, though correct me if I'm wrong, is that they only count if an enemy unit has no judgment tokens, they always count it as having a minimum of 1 when they're shooting at it.
Yes. Yeah, there we go. The rule is on screen for you. So you always basically, even if your opponent's unit doesn't have a judgment token, it's always considered to have at least 1 as a Irani Surta regular. Once you then put 1 judgment token on there, it doesn't then count as 2.
Yeah.
You still build the judgment tokens, but basically you've always got 1 judgment token on everybody, but then you have to build them up after that.
So the way to think about it, I think, is to say everyone, if you're Irani Surta regulates, you're always going to be auto wounding on hits of 6. So effectively, if you want an analogy, and Marek, I appreciate because you said you were new to Warhammer, this may not work, but for other people who've been playing 40k for a little bit longer, you might think about the fact this is a little bit like being very, very tough Dwarven now Imperial Guard, because the Imperial Guard have this rule now as well, where 6s always auto wound. So basically you have that as a baseline, what you then do, as Josh says, with your other judgment tokens and other bonuses you can add on, that you just need to do. It just means you're never going to be in a situation where you're looking at a unit and going, I don't have any judgment tokens on there, because effectively you always have one.
Yeah. So you always have
so it's
one.
a nice bonus. It's a nice bonus.
Yeah, you always treat them as having one, but when you put one on there, it doesn't then count as two. They now officially have one, which is
So that's where it's like, I guess that's where it maybe is not weaker, but that's where it kind of it doesn't stack as quickly as you might think the first time you read the rule. Although I will say, +1 toughness is not something to be like sniffed at.
Yeah, especially when it means your land fortress now becomes toughness 9.
Toughness 9. Yeah, toughness 9 land fortresses. That's pretty good. I believe your Hearthguard, the kind of big chunky dudes, they become T6, which is, you know, it's not the biggest break point in the world, but there are, you know, think about, I mean, I'm sitting here with a load of Thousand Suns in front of me, right? Like, take these guys who are, if people can see that, it's a Scarab Occult Terminator. So his combat weapon, so his bolter is strength 4, right? Bolters tend to be strength 4. So ordinarily, he'd be wounding your average, you know, member of the Hearthkin, right? The regular troops on a 4. Like, he'd be wounding fellow Space Marines on a 4. But there are spells you can do to put +1 to the strength of that in the Thousand Suns. There are ways to do that. So then he's strength 5. Well, if your basic troops are toughness 5, there's no added bonus in there for them on that. And likewise, his combat weapon, and I would say this one is probably the more common example, his combat weapon is +1 strength, so it takes him up to strength 5, right? But again, if you go from, in your unit that probably is the kind of thing that's going to be engaging a unit of Terminators, right? Which is your Hearthguard or your Berserkers, in the case of the Leagues of Votann, realistically, rather than a bunch of Hearthkin. They're all like T6 now. Automatically, it becomes harder for them to wound, right? And don't get me wrong, there are ways they can mess about with that. There are stratagems that your opponent can use. But again, you're still forcing the spend of CP. So +1 toughness is a good rule to have. I think it's not something that you wanna sniff at.
Yes, agreed. Chunky Meme says feet.
Feet.
So we've got some more things. Shane Murphy says the Votan basically got me into Warhammer 40k after being a Blood Bowl player. See, I really want to get into Blood Bowl because I really desperately want the Amazons Blood Bowl team. And if I get that and I can build and paint that and play some Blood Bowl games, I'll probably never play 40k again after that. No, I'm joking. Of course I won't. I love 40k. But yeah, I'm sure you'll have plenty of rules questions as we go forward, and we do a lot of live streams. So if you do only have any little rules questions, you can always jump in here, and I will try my best to answer them. Charlie Adams says, "Yo, dude, came across your channel and realised we played each other in the doubles tournament at Warhammer World in June. Great content, and was a pleasure meeting / playing you." I don't. Which team were you, Charlie? I can't remember. I'm terrible with names.
We were probably at the table next to you because we were all there together.
The Warhammer World doubles was really good. We didn't have any kind of cross-eyed games, I like to call them,
where everything goes a bit weird.
Yeah. It was really fun. I think it's the first tournament I've been to in a long time where I didn't have a cross-eyed game. The Dark Salamanders. Yes. Yes, I remember you now. Yes.
I think I remember them as well, because I think I came over and saw when you guys were setting up, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yes, I remember. No, it was an awesome game. I really enjoyed Warhammer World Doubles. I think I changed. I think I broke Adam as well. Because we were talking last night, weren't we? And you were like, "I don't really want to go to LGT." And I said, "Well, what was the last tournament you went to? Was it ITT?" And you said, "No, it was doubles." And I said, "Oh yeah, it's just a lot more fun when you do it with people, isn't it?" And he was like, "Yep."
It sort of is. What's funny, because for people who don't know, and obviously Charlie will be familiar with it in chat. Josh and I were on. We both went up with two of our very good friends, but we both had armies that were basically the same. So Josh and I both had Chaos Knights, and our teammates both had, one had Flesh Tearers and the other one had Blood Angels. So it was like a kind of like Knights and Chaos Knights and sort of Blood Angel variant mashup on 2 tables. And our scores were very, very close to each other. There was actually a point where we thought we would actually end up doing effectively a mirror match with each other, which would have been ridiculous.
Wasn't the only difference that we got a draw and you didn't?
You guys got the draw and we got the win.
I think we got a draw. I can't remember. I seem to draw. I think whenever Adam is involved in an event that I go to, I seem to pick up a draw. Whether it's directly playing him or whether it's against somebody else, I pick up a draw whenever Adam's present.
I am the draw man. I am the draw. This is like the fact that and this is not me trying to be salacious. It was just genuinely a weird thing. I think the score when I played with my sister battle, I got the score of 69. Like more times in game, whether it was a win or a loss, obviously quite a low scoring win, but like I would always pick up like 69 would be my score, and it's just weird. It happened about 8 times. Oh, anyway,
I do.
Shane says.
I was just say, sorry.
No, go on.
Just in response to Charlie, I do remember. I didn't remember us destroying you. I remember your dice destroying you.
Oh, was it a lot of ones on the save?
Yeah, it wasn't. So. I mean, yeah, we were putting the hurt on, and Mike just powered up with like, he saved it to that game, where he just like, I think it was in the previous game to that one, he couldn't roll a save to save his life, and then in the next game it was just like, I'm just gonna roll nothing but 6s for 5 turns, and I was over there with my abominant just being like, doop 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 doop. I don't have any rend. Yeah, see, that was the thing.
I'm really bad at ones for 2+ saves. I feel you, Charlie. I played a game yesterday, which was good fun. I did end up taking the win out of it, but I played my first game of Warhammer in about 2.5 months because I've been very busy against our friend Quipster, Alex. And I was taking my 1,000 Suns, which I've never played with before. And let me tell you, on a 2-up save on your 1,000 Suns stuff, rolling ones, it happens, and boys it hurt. You're like, how? How does this keep happening?
So this is why you want to collect an army like Daemons, where you've never heard of a 2+ save.
No, you're just like 4-up. I'm good. I'm done. I would say, sorry, we had a couple of questions in the chat. I'll answer one quickly. LGBF Gaming says, how long will we be live for? He's due to take the tiny human to bed and would love to keep chatting. I think we'll probably be live for like another, like I can probably certainly do like up to another hour or so. I don't know what Mr. Warhipster's plans are because ultimately he's in charge.
I shall abuse my position of power. Yes. No, we'll be live for a little while longer. Maybe. What time is it now? It's 5 o'clock.
It's like 5, yeah.
So we've been going since 3:30, so an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably stay live until maybe 6:30.
Cool.
Or at least I will. Adam might leave.
Yeah. I might have to go, but I'll find out.
and then we can talk about him.
Effectively, I am in either case. It's either Josh told me what to do or my fiance. So I have no power here, Gandalf the Grey. And then Shane Murphy says, one rule question: if I'm expecting to come up against Chaos Marines / World Eaters a lot, reckon I should kit the Hearthkin out with Iron Blasters.
I think you should probably kit the Ironkin out with the Hearthkin. Sorry, you should probably kit the Hearthkin out with Iron Blasters. Anyway, I went with the bolt guns on these because I think what you're going to end up having, because you've only got one troops choice. Let's be honest. You're going to have one that's going to sit in your backfield, and depending on what you do with your army, you are going to have one that sits back and holds the objectives. That one's going to be the one that holds. That you want to take the bolt guns with, and you want to put the Magna Rail rifles in as well, because they're going to stand at the back, right? For anything that's going to move into the midboard, you want the Ion.
And if you're taking them as like Ymir, who adds one of their traits is they add 4-inch to the range, that makes your Ion Blasters a little bit more flexible.
Yeah,
across both of those situations, but still, it's a 22-inch range, so you probably again want to do what Josh is saying and have a kind of unit of bolter guys, and obviously they're cheaper as well at the back, with with tooled up with the kits. Although I reckon the Magna Rail and the missile launcher is probably the way to go, just in every squad.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're just good. But yeah, also bear in mind there are strats in there, as I understand it, for like there's one that it doesn't give you extra shots on your bolters.
I think so. Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, so I mean, like if you are getting like a bunch of world eaters coming at you, I mean, it doesn't matter how tough things are. If you throw enough dice at it, it will probably die.
Yeah, we need to know what the new World Eaters rules are going to be.
Anger.
Yeah.
Rage.
I'm kind of hoping that the World Eaters are everything the Blood Angels wish they were.
Yeah, because at the moment it's the other way around.
Yeah, at the moment the Blood Angels are everything the World Eaters wish they were. MTB Marek QX, here is my Urani Surtur Regulate soldier on camera. I do have plenty of time to show you. There he is. How long will you be live? An unreal amount of ones. Genuinely, all tournament, I hadn't really lost a unit because the Deathwing was so tanky, slightly obnoxious, but just decided to get wrecked against the Flesh Terrors. Yeah, it was bound to happen to you at one point. I was surprised because I once played in a team tournament at Warhammer World, and I took Imperial Knights, and I only lost, I think, 4 models across the entire weekend. Now, granted, that was back in 8th edition when things were a little bit silly for the Knights.
Yes.
When we had a 3+ invulnerable save on a Knight Castellan. But I was surprised at this doubles tournament because I lost the Abominant a couple of times. I lost all of the War Dogs pretty much every game. And yeah, it made me a little bit sad. But yeah, there's the Urani Surtur Regulate. Right, let's continue on with our boy. Oh no, my boy. Father help. So what I did next on this was I took some Skeleton Horde and I used this to paint in all of his pouches and belt, I believe. Yes.
Oh, excuse me. Oh.
Bless you.
Where's my Achillean green? Here it is.
For anyone in the chat who's interested, I said a little while ago that I wasn't going to Fun and Fluff, and now I am. So if you're
somebody
be at Fun and
convinced
Fluff, if you're going to be at Fun and Fluff next weekend, we'll be able to hang out, which will be really cool. I'll be in London for the day, down at the Shepherd's Bush Dark Sphere store.
Formerly known as the Sweat Dungeon.
So, yep, it's going to be my first outing with the new Chaos Demons, so it's going to be an absolute train wreck. Because I'll be like, I don't know what any of it does, which is why I'm taking Corn.
Oh, don't. I spent an inordinate amount of time yesterday playing Alex, looking at the Cabal points and going, I have 17 of these and I don't know what to do with them.
Adam says, listening while I paint, that generally scared the bejesus out of me when you sneezed.
I'm really sorry, Adam. I apologise. So Shane says, my prospective World Eaters opponent has had at least one Wood Elf killed by my Slayer in Blood Bowl, so they are due some revenge. You've got judgment tokens. You can dole out even more judgment and even more grudges.
LGBF Gaming says, I have an idea to paint my Votan a unique colour like pink. How will that affect my playing if it will? Could I still declare them a specific league, or would they have to be a custom league? No, so you can, in the book, you can basically declare them as like a league. Let me go and find the exact word, because I think it's actually quite cool. But you can basically, like with Chaos Space, not Chaos Space Marines, like with Space Marines and stuff, you can basically declare that they are like a close ally of a league, and therefore they fight exactly the same way. So you can just be like, here are my pink ones. They are the Urani Surta Regulates.
Yeah. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, again, this goes back to the conversation earlier about homebrew versus you know, a given scheme. My view, and it's my personal view, I don't speak for anyone else here, my view is, if you turn up with an army and it's painted whatever colour you want, as long as you tell me at the start of the game, I am playing this army as this thing, right? These are, do you know its rules? No. Okay, this is what it does, right? I don't care. Well, it can be a bit obnoxious sometimes when someone's like got like a beautifully painted Ultramarine army and they're like, no, it's actually white scars. Like that in itself. But again, if someone does that, someone does that. And look, I'm not going to stop you from wanting to play whatever rules you want to play. That's my personal view. So I think if you have a homebrew scheme and you need a rule to be able to do it, the rules on your screen now are the way to do it. Otherwise, to be quite honest, you can just be like, I'm playing them as Urani Surta Regulates. I go, cool.
So this is where you and I slightly disagree.
Yeah, no, we do. That's why I said it's very much my personal view, because I know you disagree with me on this.
So, but this, the reason I disagree is because rules like this exist.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting that, right? Because it's like, if you they've accounted for people who want to do that by doing that. So in this instance, if you want to paint your guys pink and you want to play them as the URSR, you've got the league affiliated custom here where this is the rule you're playing. So what if it's in and again, this is only at competitive events, right? In the privacy of your own home or at your local gaming store or whatever, it really doesn't matter. But at competitive events, where I get annoyed is the rules exist, but people don't use this rule. And they do that so that they can use the character, the named character, for example. So
yeah,
in Space Marines instance, it would be painting Guilliman pink, right? But Guilliman isn't the Primarch of the Pink Marines. Guilliman is the Primarch of the Ultramarines, and his rules are very clearly about the Ultramarines. But there is a rule that lets you play your pink Space Marines as Ultramarines, but it's this. So if this rule didn't exist, then I wouldn't have so much of a disagreement with it. But from a competitive standpoint, if you're going to a tournament and you are not painted as that colour, there is a rule for allow you to do that, which is why if this didn't exist, fine, but it does exist, so it should be played this way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, you got a rules basis for it, so I mean, use it, I guess.
And that's the point. There is a ruling on it, and a lot of people just ignore it.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. How do you guys feel the Votan will play at tournaments? Do you think there's massive Codex creep? I don't think there's massive Codex creep. I think the Votan will be very strong, and I think the Votan will disrupt the meta in quite a significant way. I absolutely think that they will do that, and it's something that needs to happen because Tyranids are better.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the meta shakes out. I tend to agree. I think, are they gonna? I mean, bear in mind that this is always, I think, a difficult one to, especially with a wholly new faction. This is going to be a difficult one to measure because on the one hand, they have very good rules, right? Let's not beat around the bush, right? They have very good rules. They have very good stratagems. Their stratagems are generally very cheap by comparison to other factions. Because and Josh and I were talking about this, and we the comment you made, Josh, I thought was bang on, which is you said this is a codex that looks like it was written for Nephilim.
Yeah.
In mind, like with the starting with less CP, so your CP go further because everything's cheaper. But by comparison to other books, it can look a bit egregious sometimes. Their rules that they have often are reminiscent of what other factions have, but they're just a bit better. Like they're like a slightly improved version for whatever reason. However, the army is slow, right? It's unless you invest lots of points in transports, which again the transports are massively expensive, but still it makes the cost of your army a lot higher. You're not going to be moving very fast, right? So armies that have a lot of movement, like Harlequins, might be quite good. These guys have almost no defense that I can see against mortal wounds, right? So actually, armies like Thousand Sons, or the Tyranids' ability to put out lots of mortal wounds, or even maybe Grey Knights, might, and again, because there are ways to make those armies quite mobile, they might have some good play into them as well, if someone works it out. But I say, it's very difficult, I think, to work out whether something is like, well, sorry, it's not difficult to work out if something is completely busted, because there are sometimes when you look at it and you go, come on, like that is way over the top. But the I think the like first week that the book is out, the other difference with this is because it is a brand new faction, no one knows how to deal with it yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like when other books came out, like the Tyranids are incredibly good, and their book is incredibly good, and all of their units pretty much. There's nothing bad in that book at all. Like there really just is not anything bad in that book. And people still know how to play Tyranids, but they couldn't because the book was so good. It just flattened everything it came across.
Well, yeah, that and the strategy for dealing with Tyranids completely changed, right? Because
exactly.
If I speak generally to people and say, how would you, in your mind, how should you play against Tyranids? And everyone is always immediately transported to the idea that there's 100 gaunts.
Yeah, because that was the way people played, right? The gaunt carpet, horde armies.
90 gene stealers, that kind of thing. So you would take a lot of high rate of fire in order to drown them in bullets, right? Whereas now Tyranids play in a non-Tyranids way. They take a lot of big tech pieces, and there's very little infantry on the field, apart from warriors, and it then means you have to take high strength weaponry, which is fine if in the meta if Chaos Knights and Imperial Knights had disrupted the meta in the way that I hoped that they would, but haven't. It would be fine because it would mean now that lots of people were taking lots of like melter and las cannons, so it mean they would be taking that to deal with knights, Tyranids, and things like broadside battle suits and hammerheads and things like that. But that hasn't happened. It's still monster mash, and the knights and stuff haven't disrupted the meta in the way that they should have done. Maybe. We've got a couple of questions in here. So LGBF Gaming says, so because in the Votan Codex it says I can have a pink army that's League affiliated, but without the named characters. Am I understanding that right? Yeah. So in Adam's world, yes, you could make Uthar the Destined, and you could paint him pink and use him as Uthar the Destined. To me, at competitive events, he is then not Uthar the Destined. He's Pinkthar the Destined. You see, but but because in the book as well, you've got the High Carl ability. Hi, Carl. You've got that thing where you can spend 40 points to make your Carl basically Uthar the Destined, just not quite as strong. It's fine. There's rules to let you do all of that stuff. Acquisition about what? Acquisition. I'm definitely a dwarf now. A question about what I'm painting now. I just painted my Kriegsman's armor with VMC gunmetal grey. I've been darkening it with Black Templar over the top. Is there a better way? Depends how dark you want to go. That sounds like that's very nice. If you don't want it to be as dark as what's happening with Black Templar, then maybe thinning that Black Templar a little bit will help. And if you don't want it to be too dark, you could just use Nuln Oil to darken it down. I'm not very good at my Vallejo colours because I don't own any apart from these two. I own Chrome and I own the white.
Chrome.
That's it. That's all I own from Vallejo. I really want to try the Express stuff that Juan Hidalgo has been sharing. That I think he helped them make. I don't want to give that a go. Charlie says, I hope so because I'm sick of these passive Necron and Sisters racking up secondaries but not interacting with the opponent. Well,
yeah. That's a bit of an issue at the moment.
But are they doing that by doing actions?
Yeah, because of the way they changed the rules to both allow you to take 3 faction secondaries rather than having to mix them up, and also the way that they then changed the rules for how some of the faction secondaries, particularly Necrons and Sisters, work. It means that there is a lot of kind of, they don't have to interact with you necessarily to rack up like 50. Like a lot of theirs are almost instantaneous. I will get 15 points off this.
Right. Is it by doing an action?
Which is an issue. Yeah. I mean, so you can give them judgment tokens in the Votan if they've done an action.
Yeah, so that's the point I was getting at, is if they're sat doing actions or whatever, or just standing on objectives, you can disrupt what Necrons and Sisters players are doing because it makes them more vulnerable doing that. So even if you've got a Celestian Sacrosanct unit, for example, standing an objective doing an action, it might do that in turn 1, and now it's got 3 judgment tokens, which means you're auto wounding it on 4s. So it does disrupt them in that way, because now if you're auto wounding them on 4s and you fire your Magna Rails at it, you've no longer got a Celestian Sacrosanct unit.
Yeah, that's not going to be good for them. Yeah. I think it will change that up. I mean, to be honest, we're probably heading, because we're going to be getting towards a new book anyway, right? A new Nephilim type. What are they called? Season, I guess, because they're quarterly. And Nephilim has definitely been around for 3 to 4 months, I think.
Yeah, it can't be far off now.
Yeah, so we might end up with a change anyway. Charlie, I'm not sure. LGBF Gaming says, I've noticed a unit of 5 Berserkers can potentially take a night out in 1 turn if you roll good. Josh, I think your camo's having an issue. Oh, no, it's back.
I just closed it for some reason. Don't know why.
I'm going to turn you off. So potentially take out a knight in 1 turn if you roll good, but it's getting them there. Yeah, I think so. This was like an Auspex Tactics video he did about like, it can take out a knight in 1 turn. But actually, a friend of ours, Jamie, who was one of the ones at Warhammer Doubles that Charlie might remember, he was my teammate. He was playing Blood Angels. He made a good point, which is that, well, yes, but there's actually lots of units that can do that, right? Death Company can take out a knight if they roll well enough, if they have the right weapons. Right?
Sanguinary Guard can do it very easily.
Right? Sorry?
Sanguinary Guard can do it very easily.
Yeah. There's like a whole bunch of units which, like, if you get them, if they go off and you have the right strats and the right buffs on them, they can just nuke, like, even something like a 24 wound knight. Like, they can just take it out. So I personally, again, my personal opinion, I don't think that's a good measure of going like, this thing's overpowered, because actually if you look at it, there are other units that can do it. You are also right in that you do have to get them there, and though they are tankier than, say, Repentia, which they are very similar. Sisters of Battle have a unit called Repentia, which is like a combat unit, and they're similar to those but tankier for sure. They are slow because they're dwarves. They don't have the ability that like Repentia do in the Sisters of Battle to just be launched across the field as a death ball. So yeah, you're going to need a transport for them, I would say, for the Berserkers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. So what colour is going on here now, Josh? Is it Fire Slayer Flesh?
It was Fire Slayer Flesh. It's now Wildwood is going on the beard.
He's getting a sort of Tom Selleck style 80s tash.
That's exactly what's happening.
I like it. I like it a lot.
So now it's just time for some metallics.
Everyone's favourite time of the year, metallic time.
Metallica time.
Charlie Adams says, "How are you finding the T-Suns?" Well, I had one game with them. They're good fun. They are. So things I learned is that, I mean, which I should have known to begin with, is that they're pants in combat, obviously. Although also a unit of Scarab Occult Terminators did hold up pretty well against Trajan, a shield captain, and a squad of custodians at once, which was pretty good in the grand scheme of Warhammer. Like, that's pretty good to stand up against all of that. I mean, a lot of them died, but the unit survived. Yeah, they do a lot of mortal wounds in the psychic phase, which is what they should do. I pretty much got a Telemon Dreadnought from max wounds down to being dead in the psychic phase, which was really a testament to exactly what the Thousand Sons are capable of. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good army, I think, for fun and fluff, because, you know, it's semi-competitive. People don't know what we're talking about. Anyone who's in the chat who doesn't know what this is, Fun and Fluff is an event that is run in London twice yearly, I think, Josh, now?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah, which is basically, the idea is it is a semi-competitive but also narrative-y tournament, right? So it is like a tournament format, but there are list restrictions. It's 1,500 points. It is what they call modified Highlander. So in other words, you can have as many troops units as you like, but all of your other data sheets, normally, again, there are some exceptions to this, but normally all your other data sheets have to be unique. So, you know, for example, you can't just be like, I've got 4 units of 10 Scarab Occult Terminators or something, you know. There are ways, they have changed the format slightly now of kind of messing around with that, but broadly that's how it works. You know, named characters are treated as, that are, you know, a variation on a data sheet, are treated as the same as a data sheet. So, like, the example that I can tell you they give in the pack is you cannot have, as an Imperial Guard player, Knight Commander Pask, who is a tank commander, and a tank commander, right? You can't have both. So it's a really good tournament, and honestly, it's really good fun because there are scores for fluff that you write about your army if you want to write it. There are scores, obviously, for painting. There are scores for kind of just friendly opponent as well. All goes into the scoring. So, you know, you can be the best damn player there with the strongest army, win all your games, and still not win the tournament because somebody who maybe lost a couple of their games might have just been really good fun to play with, and they get, you know, a higher score. So it's a really good kind of fun. This is a 1-day one we're going to. They have done 2-day ones before, I think, or am I just making that up, Josh?
Yeah, no, it's typically a 2-day.
Yeah, typically a 2-dayer. So yeah, it's really, really good fun. Yeah, I will see how the Thousand Suns go. I'm really just going for a Space Wizard theme, and I need to get myself a wizard hat that I can wear during the course of my games. Anyway, back to the chat. Adam Doughty says, I know it's not Votan related, but how excited are you, I'd assume you're talking to both of us, about World Eaters? I'm unsure if I'm excited or dreading rebuilding my World Eaters when we get new kits. So what do you think, Josh, about World Eaters?
I'm very excited for them. I think it's very, very cool. I'm hoping that what it is going to be kind of just like an integration. So more along the lines of the Thousand Suns release was than the Death Guard.
Right.
Because the Death Guard, it was basically, yeah, like if you had a Death Guard army before, you don't really have a Death Guard army anymore.
Yeah, it kind of became unusable, didn't it?
Yeah, because you got so many new units. Now, I'm hoping is that there's a little bit more than what the Thousand Suns got. but I'm hoping that it won't be so tough on people who do have World Eaters armies, because I think there are more people who have World Eaters armies than there were Death Guard armies before. There are a lot of people who've got
Yeah, I mean,
tons of Khorne Berserkers.
yeah.
So
No, I'm inclined to agree on that one.
I'm just excited to see what happens. Like, if we use the Thousand Sons as an example, they got Ahriman, they got the Exalted Sorcerers, and they got the Scarab Occult, and they got the Rubric Marines, and they got Magnus.
Yeah.
So World Eaters currently have Khan, and that's it. We know that they're getting new.
Well, technically, you also have this Terminator dude, who's the Warhammer TV thing, because he is a cornate Terminator.
Well, very true, but he won't be a. It won't be a Slambo situation.
Yeah.
1.5 at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be cool because look, new stuff's always cool. I'm a real simp for the hobby, right? So new stuff is always fun to look at. As I agree with Josh. I hope it's a middle ground where they will still fit with what people have already, but that you guys also get some like cool new units, because I think one of the things that's good about the Death Guard release is they did get a lot of like unique stuff. Like beyond just things like they've got two types of Terminators. They've got the various characters, which are quite cool, like their equivalent of the medics. What's he called? The plague surgeon. They got the foul blight spawn. They got like a whole bunch of unique kind of character units. One of the things the Thousand Sons are a bit lacking, and I have Death Guard and I have Thousand Sons, but the Thousands are a little bit lacking, is that kind of diversity, because you've really got Rubric Marine, like in beyond the Zangor stuff that translates over from AOS or from Fantasy Battles as it was, but you basically have Exalted Sorcerers, Rubric Marines, Scarab Occult Terminators, Infernal Master, Ahriman, Magnus. So it's 6 things, right? I kind of hope, it'd be nice if the Thousands had like a different type of Terminator, let's say like a more elite bodyguard, like something to do with the Sekhmet. Which I guess is more heresy, and also some of the dreadnoughts that they had in the heresy release. They had like the Osirian dread, like as far as I'm aware, anyway, which is pretty cool. But yeah, the World Eaters, I hope they get like some kind of like, I don't know, cool Terminator unit, to be like the Red Butchers. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, excited.
I think that's
Charlie says I'm playing. Me and my friend are playing a doubles game tomorrow. T-Suns and Grey Knights versus Craftworld and Space Wolves. I'm not confident I'm the Eldar. I mean, T-Suns and Grey Knights together is like a lot, because you've got maximum psychic output and maximum psychic denial. I would be, if I was your Space Wolf buddy, Charlie, I would be a little bit worried, because like the T-Suns have, and to be fair, I think the Space Wolves have it as well, but it's probably more effective on the T-Suns because of their like ranged shooting is actually quite good. They have a re-roll all hits and all wounds strat for like 1 CP specifically against Space Wolves, which I will guarantee you right now, whatever your friend's like biggest threat unit is, that's just gonna get nuked from a distance by by all the guns, I suspect. So yeah, I'd watch out for that. Forgotten Forge says, "Hi, I've been watching quite a lot of Votan battle reports and didn't see Uthar the Destined on the tables. Is there a SOTO Soto on that? Like, is there? I guess is there a reason for that, or a restriction on the named character?" And I think I will turn this over to Josh, because it is about the restriction on the named character, because we've discussed it already.
It's because he belongs to the Great Arthurian League.
Yes.
And if you've seen any battle reports where people are using the Great Arthurian League, they probably should have Uthar the Destined. But if they're using the Ymir conglomerate or the URSR, Urani-Surta regulates, you wouldn't see him in there. It's also, you know, people like to build the what's it called? The non-named character out of the box, which you can do with this, which is great. He's not just a named character build. He can be built as named or generic, which is a really nice touch in the box.
He is very good. He is very good. Like, I think the rules are pretty good.
Oh yeah, he's very good.
And you know what? Actually, and it's funny because I was talking with Josh and I were talking about this previously. To me, as somebody who got into Sisters, right, the Sisters of Battle, the release is very much reminiscent of the Sisters of Battle release. Because everyone forgets, right? So Morven Val, who is the Sisters of Battle, you know, character that you always see taken, and is the generic Supreme Commander type character that can go with any of the Sisters of Battle like convents that they are. I can't remember what the proper name for them now is, but it's just really bad. Orders, that's it, the Holy Orders. She was a second wave release. So in the first wave, they had Celestine, but she'd been around forever, right? And she's also kind of a special character generically. Like, she's not really in charge of anything. She's just the living saint. But they had, with the first wave, we got what's her name? Junith Erushia, who's the one flying around in the pulpit, the cool flamey pulpit.
Yes.
And she was a Order of our Martyred Lady only character. So very similar to Uthar the Destined. So it would not surprise me, and I should preface this by saying I know nothing about this, and this is just me just speculating off the top of my head, but it would not surprise me if at some point down the line, maybe in a year or bit's time, we get a second wave of Votan kits, maybe 2 or 3, and possibly like a Supreme Commander type character.
Yeah.
I don't know, but that would be my, based on what they did for the Sisters of Battle. If this box sells really well, which the Sisters of Battle box is a good example of one that sold amazingly well, and I suspect the Leagues of Votann will be the same. It would not surprise me if that's where we end up going with this.
Just so everyone is aware at home, I am now putting the new Fugan Orange over the top of all of the armor.
Cool. So we've also got Biltong, Mr. Boobs here again, and he says, "Hello again, gents. Lord of Votann, League of Votann is looking great, looking quality, Josh." And I agree, it is looking quality. Look at that orange. Look how lovely that orange is. It's so vibrant. And then says, "As mentioned earlier, very new to the channel. I noticed you are using Citadel straight from the pot, and I wanted to ask your view on dropper bottles, please. Is the decision based on preference to brush versus airbrush?"
So I think people generally move stuff into dropper bottles because it means they can manage how much paint comes out a little bit easier. It also means that their paint pots don't dry out because they don't hobby as much as I do, because this is my job. So I personally don't see the point in decanting into dropper bottles, because I don't use everything straight from the pot, but when it comes to contrast paints, I like to use it straight from the pot because you can, and also it just means, you know, it's a lot quicker for me. I don't have to waste time putting a drop on the palette and then trying to paint my miniature and then running out of paint and then having to, you know, put another drop of paint onto the pot, at which point my paint might have dried out. That's one of the worries with using contrast in your dropper bottles. But it's a lot of time spent decanting. So, you know, if you're gonna hobby every day, you really don't need to do it. If you're gonna hobby sort of once every couple of weeks, and you know, you don't mind losing a day of decanting all of your paints, then, you know, absolutely do it. And if you want to control how much goes on the palette, because you want to do a lot of mixes as well, decanting into your dropper bottles is a pretty good idea.
I think while that's an excellent and detailed explanation, I do like Merfolk Bear in the chat who just said the juice is not worth the squeeze.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of how I view it. Here we go. So that's Fugan orange all over Griffhound orange.
Look at
that. So
you know what I love about that finish on there, Josh, is you're right. It's still that kind of cool orange, but it's like still vibrant. If you see what I mean. Like it's like
yeah,
it looks like it. What it is? It's just futuristic. It just looks like futuristic armor. That's why.
no, for sure. I completely agree. I'm now going to use. I think I used Nuln Oil in the tutorial. I can't remember. I'm really bad at this because I'll paint something and then I immediately forget how I did it. And particularly last week. So last week I painted an entire Rohan battle host, Uthar the Destined, 5 different Leagues of Votann, and today I finished off Karanak, the Hound of Vengeance. So I can remember what I did for Karanak. I cannot remember anything of what I did last week. I used Dark Angel's Green on the cloaks. Oh, and I used some thinned down Black Legion for AMS Horse as the first coat. But that's it. I can't remember anything else. So I'm really, really sorry. At the moment, I'm just kind of guessing what I did. But I'm pretty certain what I did is I used Nuln Oil over the top of the cloves and the black, which is what I'm doing now.
I'm pretty sure it's looking pretty good, given that you're making it up as you go along almost. So I'm going to assume I'm going to take a guess here, and I'm going to say that your name, Sir MTTBSTT, is Matt Bassett or Matthew Bassett. So I'm going to call you Matt Bassett. Says looks like a lot of waste too. This is redropper bottles. Currently deciding whether to do it or not. So cheers. So. Very helpful advice as always, Josh. And Adam Doughty says, what are your thoughts on the fluff for the Votann? Since the squats disappeared, I had long dreamed of them coming back with a vengeance against the Imperium as they got left for dead against the Nids. So what do you think of the fluff?
I think it's really cool. I like that they are... we talked about it at the top of the stream, so I like that they're kind of a bit noble bright. I like that they are kind of this almost like rogue trader element within the Imperium. They don't owe allegiance to anybody other than themselves and the ancestors and the Votann themselves. I like that they are descended. They're not known as abhumans anymore because that's just offensive, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I like that they are known now as they were... They are basically. Is it? Would you say proto-humans? Is that the right term?
No. They're like close relatives. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, these are
hominids.
Yeah, these are the original humans that have evolved in such a way, based on the cloning that has happened. Because that's what they are. They are all clones. I really like it. I think, you know, it's much more. It's much cooler, basically. I mean, like the old squats were, you know, they were what they were, and they occupy a very nostalgic area of Warhammer for a lot of people. But you know, I think they've done a really good job of writing these guys in. And to kind of step away from calling them squats, because squats in and of itself as a name for something, it would be fine if they were all 6 foot tall, but they're not.
Yeah.
So it's like an in-universe slur to describe a race.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you called somebody who was short now. If you called them a squat, that would be offensive anyway.
That would be offensive. Yeah.
But it's just a lot more on brand now. And I think like I said, I really like the direction that they've taken with the story. I like that they're just kind of getting on with it, and in many ways they are mightier than the Imperium, and they are what the Imperium probably should have striven to be, but have forgotten how to because of the religious dogma. So yeah, I really like them.
You imagine the Admech, how desperate they must be to get hold of what the Votan have, what the kin have.
Yeah.
They must feel like idiots.
They're worshipping toasters, and the Votan are over here just like, my best friend's a supercomputer.
The Votan are like, can you pass me the hyper spanner? And the Mechanicum just like, are you sure we shouldn't be just rubbing oil into this thing?
If we ask it really nicely and we rub oil on it, it'll be fine, right?
Yeah.
What colour did I do this? Yes. So I'm now going to do a little bit of, I want to say, Achillean green.
Yeah. Also, on the Nid point, Adam, I do like what they did, in what they've done in the lore tip, which is to say that happened, but it was just one league, right? It was one league in particular. It was like their home world, and it got eaten by all the Nids. And in typical Imperium style, they misinterpreted the death of this one league as being, oh well, that's just all of the Votan, or as they were called then, the squats, offensive term, but as they were called then, oh, that's all of them dead, they're gone. And it's like, no, they're not gone. The Tau know them as the Demiurge or the Demiurge. They've been known by a lot of names throughout time, and they're very I guess quite secretive in some ways. A to the 40k homeboy says, heading off to the gym to get some gains. Sick. And I'll queue up the MCR, Adam. Cheers for the hangout, dudes. No worries, buddy. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out, buddy. There we go.
And get them gains.
get those straight up gains, bro. Right,
Bruh.
There you go. So that is pretty much battle ready Trans-Hyperion Alliance. Right there. Let me just put my hand behind it so it'll focus a little bit better. There we go. So, as you will see now, between the finished version and this version, there's quite a big difference. However, you could absolutely leave it like this, and that orange looks absolutely fantastic. However, what I did in mine is I layered it up with Fire Dragon Bright to get it a lot brighter. Now, there is one more thing left to do on it, which is to put the white stripes in. So we're going to get our 7 nation paints.
I was waiting for the inevitable check. I'm gonna paint him on some Ulthuan grey and some shading too. Yeah, I mean, Grim Dankness is right. The squats do exist in 40k. They're just in Necromunda. So I guess because that's what the whole point is that's what they're called by the citizens of Necromunda, and I guess by dint of that, that's what they've referred to themselves as. The Votan just do not. They call themselves the kin. I mean, they don't even call themselves the Leagues of Votann. They don't even talk about what Votan are around outsiders. In the lore, at least as I understand it, they simply talk about the kin, and we are the kin, and that is it.
I believe they are the kin, and the Votan themselves are the ancestors.
Yeah, they are the ancestors. Yeah, the ancestor cause. Basically, what we're saying is their entire civilization is run by Clippy from Microsoft Word 98.
Yeah.
I see you're trying to build a civilization in the galactic core. Would you like some help? No, go away.
So what we do now is we take some Corax white, and we're going to apply this in these stripes over the shoulders. And because we're doing this over the top of a darker orange, it's going to take probably two layers to do it.
2 whole layers of paint? Well, I'm out.
Unbelievable, Josh.
Yeah, too much work. What are you doing? What's everyone? What? Sharks beginning says, "I see you need I see you need resources. Would you like to delete this planet?"
So we go. That's the first layer down. We'll do it over here as well. Like that. And then, because he's special, we're gonna do a stripe going down here as well.
He's a special boy, so he gets a special hand. Ah, Mr. Gwatkin has joined us. Good evening, Brother Ferris, as well.
Like that sort of thing. And then, because this one should have dried by now, we're going to once again take that Corax white and do our second layer to make it nice and bright. There we go.
Forgotten Forge says, paint the kin like you paint a Camaro. Or a Camaro, I guess. What's everyone else? Just out of interest, what is everybody else painting who is tuned in? Because I know we had Shots is painting up some what are they called? Kriegsmen. But what's everyone else doing? What are the others in chat painting? What are you painting, you fine people? Yes, Mr. Gwatkin, I know I'm going to get my Fun and Fluff list in tonight. We've talked about Fun and Fluff. I've talked about how I was torn between Thousand Suns and Black Legion, and I'm going to stick with the Thousand Suns, even though it's like trying to play with 1,000 different rules. So we'll see what happens.
Did you know that I'm coming now, Rich?
Yeah, Rich, Josh is coming. I've inflicted him upon thee.
So you might as well hand me the tournament crown now.
And yeah, Charles says, I'm painting a Kriegsman because I'm slow. Matt is painting Space Wolves. Daniel says, Station, Forge Guard, Character Proxy. Forgotten Forge says, waiting on the Votan, because if I paint something else, I'll lose my hyperfixation.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
What are you bringing to Fun and Fluff, Richard? I'm interested now. This is where he and I had the conversation and we're like, don't bring Tyranids, they're a bit much. And he'll be like, I'm bringing my Tyranids.
Well, I want to win, Adam. So there we go. There's our white stripes. And then, as mentioned, I like to brighten it up. So now I'm going to brighten it up with some Fire Dragon Bright. And then we will be probably close to bidding each
Done.
other farewell.
So Adam Dash is a saucy little bunch of possessed Black Legion terminals I couldn't resist after reading the two Black Legion books. The two Black Legion books are excellent, and painting up Falcus, Kyber, and the Riven, as I believe they are called in that book, is an excellent choice. I love the Black Legion books, and I'm waiting for book 3. I think it is very, very cool. And Rich is bringing his Death Guard, as they're already painted. Which I like. I will be bringing the T-Sons. Can we team up, Rich? We'll do a special Legions duo system.
Oh, what? So you get to play doubles and everyone else has to play singles?
You guys can play doubles as well.
But what if I brought my Tzeentch demons?
Your Disciples of T's in each.
Yeah. Why would you team up with old Death Guard over there when you're the Thousand Sons?
Well, if you turn up with your Tzeentch demons, I'll team up with you. Obviously.
I mean, we all know I'm taking Leagues of Votann.
Can you imagine? Andy Horniak has just started on a Parasite of Mortrex. Great model.
Nice.
I'm a fan. My one is on the shelf to my right. Or is he on the shelf behind me? No, he's in the cupboard.
Adam's Parasite Mortrex is in the bin because
I love him. He's a great little model. He does cool stuff. He flies over and gets you pregnant.
that's what people say about you.
Hey. And Matt says, I take it all back. The gold stands out much more than I imagined, but you've only served to make my decision even harder now. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
And Forgotten Forge's last question, which will, I think, be one of the last questions of the evening, but still a good one nonetheless. How much points does the Votan army box have?
It's roughly 650. Depends on how you kit stuff. So if you put Magna rails and stuff, the Magna rail is a very expensive bit of kit. What?
No, I was laughing because I need to urgently issue a correction. Sharts McGinty, no, it is pronounced Tzeentch, just Tzeentch, or yeah, 2 syllables to Tzeentch. I mean, you can pronounce it how you want, right? But it's Tzeentch, as I understand it. No, Josh and I, and some other people, this is something I got from Josh, have a bit of a running joke that we pronounce the disciples of Tzeentch as the disciples of Tzeentch, for literally no reason other than our own stupid amusement. So feel free to use that one, or don't, because it's idiotic.
That, and it does annoy the occasional person who I like to seek out to annoy. Like a friend of mine, like a friend of mine the other day when I called it Cahorny instead of corn.
Cahorny.
And I was told off. That's how it's spelt. It was not how you say it. All right, how do you say it then, Mr. Big Man?
And Grim Dankness says, I'm likely going the default scheme, the GTL. The Great Arthurian League. It's a cool scheme. They don't really have many, I guess, apart from the Sons of Horus in that they don't really have a teal army, so it's...
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of it. Let me just have a closer look at these guys, see how we're getting on.
Um, Corn is a corny name for the god of violence. Way.
The Lord of Blood and Murder.
Yeah, you know that song that's really popular on social media at the moment, where it's like the kid singing about corn and how much he really likes corn. I just always think of the blood god whenever I hear that one. Oh, and sorry, yeah, Grim Danis has actually asked a question, which I apologies, Grim Danis, I just didn't read it because I'm an idiot. But again, I suspect, given that we are now at 5 to 6, or 3 to 6, and I've got to scoot off at some point, this may be certainly one of the last questions I will be here for. But it says, my two favourite schemes are this orange scheme, so the Trans-Hyperion Alliance, because orange is very rare in official GW schemes. Agreed. That's why my Tyranids are orange, because it's different. And the default one, because it has a named character. How did you do the white armor?
The white armor?
Yes.
Oh, on the Great Arthurian League.
On the Great Arthurian League, yes.
Okay. So what I did and you'll see it in a video very, very soon. But what I did is I painted Briar Queen Chill all over, and then I relayered it with Corax White. That was it.
Nice.
Now, I think the Games Workshop official stuff, they would recommend... I think they recommend Deepkin Flesh as a relayer. I can't remember. There we go. Fully relayered, Fire Dragon Bright.
That is a fine-looking halfkin.
So if you compare these next to each other, there you go. Oh.
They do look very cool next to each other. Like, you can see how the whole army just begins to take shape.
I'm a big fan of it.
Nice.
So obviously you can stick your transfers here. So you can give them a number for what Kinhost they belong to. You can give them their crest as well. All that kind of stuff. But there you go. That's how the Trans-Hyperion. And there is a video coming out of how to do it. So, you know, you may have watched it live, but you will get to see it on demand.
Yeah. If you've joined the stream and gone, hang on a second, how do I know how to paint this? A video is coming soon.
Yes. There you go. And at this point, it would just be doing highlights, which we don't really have time to do. But, you know, that only took, what time is it now? 6 o'clock. We started at 3:30. 2 hours to get to that.
Because you only started painting it live, like, part way through, right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So...
that's pretty good.
Like I said, even at that battle ready standard earlier, when you've put all the shades on, if you just wanted to highlight it at that point, it would look really, really good. The highlight after this would be to use Lugganath Orange, which is a nice paint. But if you don't have Lugganath Orange, but you do have Fire Dragon Bright, leaving it at that kind of Gryph-hound orange shaded with Fuegan orange, it looks really, really good. So this is just, you know, because I was trying to get as close to the box art as possible for the bright orange. So, you know, there you have it. We have a few minutes left. Briar Queen Chill is closer to a shade than regular contrast, isn't it? Briar Queen Chill is really easy to work with. It's a really nice paint to use. And I mean, you'll see it in the video. It adds a really nice kind of cold shading. It's ghostly, right? So it's a nice paint. Should be back properly.
There we go. Yeah, okay. It looks like it's working now. Sorry about that. We had some technical issues there. But I think Matt has said thanks, brilliant. Cheers for answering my many questions.
You are very welcome, my friend.
Yeah, we like answering questions. Do send them in. But yes, I would imagine that is the end, as it were, for this evening.
Yes, the only thing left to do is for me to do a quick side-by-side comparison in terms of height. So there's a Mark 6 Space Marine and there's a Leagues of Votannsman. Here is a Skitarii Ranger, side by side. That sort of thing. Here is Rogel Dawn.
He's pretty big compared to a kinsman.
Here is Karanak. So
Nice.
there you go. For anyone who was wondering how big they are. But yes, I think on that note, it is probably time for us to conclude because it is 6:05 and we've taken up enough of your time. 55 likes on the stream. That's amazing. Thank you very much, guys. But yeah, if you have any other questions, do shoot us a message in the comments, or you can contact Adam on Instagram at ADR Wargaming, or you can contact me on Instagram. I'm probably the worst person at getting back to people quickly because I'm so busy. But I'll be around for a couple of hours to answer any questions if they do come up. So I'm going to go and sit downstairs and watch telly for a little while before I come back and I start painting again. Because it's all systems go over here at Warhipster Towers now that I'm coming over to London for the weekend. I've got some AdMech I need to finish. But I hope you enjoyed that stream. We probably won't be streaming on Wednesday, only because there will be a Leagues of Votann painting tutorial coming out.
Yes.
Because that is happening, there won't be a stream on Wednesday. But there will be a stream next Monday because it's my birthday and I like to celebrate it with my online friends. So I'll be hanging out live doing some stuff, I'm sure, for a couple of hours in the evening. So if you enjoyed this one and you'd like to come back for the chill vibes that we like to have around here at Warhipster, please do. And if you really want to support the stream and really support me, you could consider hitting the like button on the stream and also subscribing to the channel and telling all your friends about it. And if you really want to support the channel, you can become a YouTube member or a Patreon subscriber. And if you do that and you join the Discord, you will be able to see all of the Leagues of Votann painting videos that we have available right now. They're in there. They're available. Early access. It's awesome. Because it's my birthday. I gave it to everybody. All five. All five on early access. So thank you so much for hanging out with us. You guys are awesome. Thank you, Adam, for hanging out with me and managing the chat and answering any of the questions that you did know the answer to. Yeah, always lovely to talk to you.
Yes. Definitely. No, great to be here, and thank you for having me. And thanks everybody for joining the video. It was awesome joining the stream.
Yeah. And I've got to now go and submit my Chaos Demons list.
Yeah.
For the Blood God, etc., etc. Because no, I'm not taking Leagues of Votann because I'm not allowed. I also only have about 650 points, so I'd be playing at a 900 point disadvantage. But that might work in my favour because nobody knows how to fight the Leagues of Votann. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. We will see you all next time. Happy wargaming, one and all. You guys are the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.